The Minster Church of St Nicholas is very possibly the town's oldest and most visible historic landmark. During the Second World War, the building was bombed and nearly destroyed by fire. It was rebuilt by the architect Stephen Dykes Bowers and reconsecrated in 1961. If we take a look here, remnants of shrapnel can still be seen on the tombstones in the graveyard. Oh yeah, look. Just looks like gun bullets.
But they're all different sizes, which is why it's making me wonder if it's shrapnel, if there's been an explosion.
As we've discussed extensively in other videos, laws came into effect prohibiting burials in churches and closing churchyards in cities and towns. This was passed in 1854. Great Yarmouth's Town Council purchased 10 acres of land for a cemetery in 1855. July 1856 marked the completion of the high flint walls surrounding the area. Cemeteries are supposed to be the end of your life's journey, the final stop, and if ghosts do return to haunt, it will probably be somewhere that meant a lot to them, unless, of course, the ghosts are tied to the graveyard for a reason. So there are many things that can cause the restless to drift back from the other world, such as body snatching, grave robbery, desecration of the dead, unmarked or forgotten burials, and unnatural disasters that can disturb the final resting place. So why did 1,000 fright seekers turn up to investigate Great Yarmouth Cemetery in 1872? Well, this can be explained in many ways. Ghostly apparitions were reported in the graveyard in July in 1872. As soon as the gossip spread, huge crowds gathered for a graveyard vigil at night to satisfy their curiosity. According to the Eastern Daily Press report on July 15th, a ghost was seen in St Nicholas's churchyard a few days ago, and the report spread like the tale of the three black crows, until it became unquestionable fact that a ghost was walking in this churchyard after dark. According to one witness, he saw the spirit and described it as a monster that had changed form 4 times as he watched it. One other report suggests the ghost is a spirit of the deceased townsman who once lived near the church. Another suggests the ghost is an escaped lunatic. A third believes the tale originated after someone saw the gravedigger at work in his shirt sleeves late at night or very early in the morning. The onlookers were dismissed as fools by the EDP, adding that they should have gone home wiser than they came. Despite this, sightings continued and evidence accumulated, and it has become well known for its hauntings. In September 1645, Elizabeth Bradwell, Alice Cleswell, Bridgetta Howard, Maria Blackburn, and Elizabeth Duggan were buried here alongside Elizabeth Butcher and Joan Lingwood. These were hanged as witches in 1584. On the edge of the church, the 7 were buried in unconsecrated ground, and in Salem, Massachusetts, sisters baptized at this church were accused of witchcraft, 2 of whom were hanged and 1 escaped death. This church was also renowned for its grave robbing. Grave robbers stole corpses here in 1827 to sell to scientists. They left coffins splintered like kindling and rotten corpses strewn on the grass in their hurry to find the newly buried. Despite the illegal nature of the operation, more than 20 bodies were taken under the cover of darkness, and when the ringleader was caught, he was sentenced to only 6 months in jail, and the doctors were paid to treat him well. Archaeologists are reported to have brought a cursed Egyptian mummy back to England after removing it from her tomb. When the casket housing the mummy was given to Great Yarmouth Priory School next to the church, it soon began to emit a foul odour. Once the casket was opened, the contents of it had rotted, so the decision was made to bury it in the churchyard at midnight to avoid onlookers. The casket was then returned back to the school, and it was empty. However, after this, a tapping on the vicarage door was heard on several occasions, but when the vicar opened the door, expecting to find someone who needed his ministrations, he found no one there. And at night, people walking through the graveyard heard eerie tapping, and police began increasing patrols to find the culprits. It was said that this school was to have suffered a mummy's curse, and when the smell that had plagued the school returned, it again was traced to the casket. In front of the entire school, the schoolmaster decided he had had enough of the situation and he wanted to get rid of the issue, so he reopened the casket in front of everyone. And to their horror, one of the arms was left behind by mistake. Now, the schoolmaster panicked and they rushed the missing limb to the graveyard and reunited it with the other remains. The knocking is said to have stopped. Oh no. Right. George Gilbert.
He's a mason.
Is that what that symbol is?
Yeah. why it's got such an elaborate headstone.
It is this church where local legend has it that if you circle the church 3 times and shout "Bloody Queen Mary," the face of Mary Tudor appears through a window. Mary had stayed at the next door priory in 1514. The railings on Church Plain and Northgate Street were filled with thousands of excited children and adults looking for spirits here for many hours. Some people shouted that they had seen a ghost flitting among the gravestones. Perhaps it was due to moonlight or a light playing between the grey gravestones of the former residents of the town, casting shadows, but the crowd became frantic. A brave church official offered his services as a leader to search the graveyard, but no one took him up on that offer. Many nights children were convinced that a ghost was nearby and crowds gathered. However, as with most things ghostly, several months later a woman confessed to the ghost, claiming she was experiencing hallucinations. But our ghost stories today seem to pile up like sods of earth around a freshly dug grave, and we have one last story to tell. It's very short, but it is said that 8 people who saw the ghost in St Nicholas's churchyard in October 1922 died of shock after seeing 3 ghosts in armour riding white horses. Well, if they died in the graveyard, it would have at least saved the undertaker a journey. Go away, fly. See him keep peeking at me. Is he still there? Is he still there?
Yeah.
He keeps peeking at me.
He's watching both of us.
Is he? There he is. Here's the other one.
There he is, looking at you.
Oh,
They're both looking at you. The other one over here.
oh yeah. The other one down there. Do you get the impression you're being followed?
Yeah.
Look at them both sitting there.
There's 3 up there.
There they are, all together, look. Oh, look. Ooh. Fisticuffs.